Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Starting off hot.
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the...
Yes, ma'am. May I finish responding, please? But you have to let me finish,
You had the White House and the House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue, but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats.
Wow, Bernie,
but more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungary, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say,
great question.
first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that.
Lincoln Riley.
There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together
Madam Vice
to
President.
ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the
My receipts.
Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what
I
I'm
will
saying.
tell you that I am so sorry for her loss.
She's not, no.
I'm so sorry for her loss. Sincerely.
That was a great example.
But let's
Brett.
talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as
Trump's
well.
fault.
But do you
Brett,
want to answer
in all
her?
fairness, I told you I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
Wow.
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably,
They
I know
endorse Trump.
you investigate and you are a serious journalist. They will tell you we need more judges. We need to process those cases
Trump.
faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this
Trump
system
said he did
works.
That's the
Executive
premise of
order.
this question.
But
There were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security.
Wow.
Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support.
She's cooked.
They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These
Chance
guys
Hurd.
down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago,
Yes or no?
and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that
Yes
statement
or no?
over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
Just say no.
If that's
or
the
no?
case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law.
Wow.
So do you support that?
Great question.
We are very clear, and I am very
love this
clear,
shit.
as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
No, but let's be very
Get his ass. Get the mosquito real quick.
That shit.
No, it's not. Get his ass. Get his ass. Get his ass.
Got him.
Ah!
He did it, he missed.
Ah, he dead.
Oh.
He dead.
Oh, okay.
Okay, man. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Shot him in his head, huh?
All right, put your headphones back on because I want to finish this. This is good.
I know, we are. Yeah, we are.
Did you get it?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh,
He's dead.
okay. I just wanted to point
excited.
out the fact that she said, I have not put that into power as VP. And people are trying to say, oh, you need a civics lesson when you point out the fact that all the things she's proposing, she didn't do as VP. And she just said, well, as VP, I never did any of that. So if a VP has no power, why is that your answer?
Well,
If a VP has no power to do anything,
See, they
and that-
contradict themselves too much.
But
they
we already
contradict
heard-
themselves way too much.
we already heard the head honcho in charge. She got as much power as I do.
Joe
We
said
did
she
hear
had
that.
power.
We heard
Joe said she had
it.
power with the border. We saw that the border patrol came out and said, "Yeah, we endorsing Trump."
I also love the fact that he pointed out her hypocrisy on illegal immigration, how she thinks not addressing or answering his question directly is a great strategy. And he brought up her history of endorsing all this free handouts for illegals, and then brought up her running mate who put that into power in his state. He said, "So what you feel about that?" That was
No
that
comment.
was a nail in the coffin.
I ain't gonna
I
lie,
think-
this
I-
just killed her right
He's
now.
I think
killing
if
her.
If the candidate, the Democratic candidate, was more like moderate, they would have a better shot because they are just too extremist.
Too extreme.
Like too radical
Oh,
extremists.
facts. But I just don't think we'll get another Democrat candidate that's not
ain't got
this
nobody,
extreme.
bro.
I
They have
don't think we
nobody.
will. I don't think we'll because they say
their
Gavin
policies
Newsom
are
is
so
next up,
crazy.
and Gavin
Yeah.
Newsom is crazy.
I don't
Gavin
think it's
Newsom
him.
just made it illegal to have voter ID. He just made it illegal. Tell the parents about children's sex changes. He just
Yeah.
made political memes illegal. He's extreme as it gets.
He has the number one state that people leave. Yeah, that's all.
Y'all,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be surprised. But the person I think that actually might win that ticket for them next year is either Tim or
Oh no!
Buttigieg.
Oh no!
I
No!
really- I
No!
really-
I don't think so.
I feel like
Neither
Tim.
do
You
I.
talking
I don't
about
think
win
so.
the Democrat like nominee.
Like,
Yeah.
in 4
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
I would like to point out the
Yeah.
fact that
Because
But not
Buttigieg
gonna
will
be
hop
good.
on Fox.
I,
and
would
all
like,
the
I don't
content.
think I don't think any of them will win, but I think they're gonna try to put Gavin Newsom up, and I think that Gavin Newsom is so extreme. Like, if you just look at his constant failures, like who could they put up?
Bro, he has the
Who could
number
they put
one
up?
state that people leave.
They put billions of dollars into
Simple.
homelessness, and homelessness has risen
That's what I'm saying.
50%.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
cap.
That's why I say Buttigieg is probably the only person that could probably.
And guess what we gonna do? We gonna do Todd Winfield versus Pete Buttigieg and Gavin Newsom, nigga. That's how I ain't saying you can't do it, but them niggas is that ass.
Damn.
Wow.
They just talk shit on my
Sounds
time.
like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are
I- and-
evolutions that
but-
you've had.
no, But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel
That
to
doesn't
the
about
mean
right now.
Guadalajara cartel, to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people
Good job.
and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery
for prisoners.
for prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Extremism.
Are you still in support of using
Extremism.
taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law. And it's a
Yes
law that
or
Donald
no,
Trump actually
Kamala?
follows.
That's I plead the fifth.
You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition
Well,
surgeries
you know what? You got to
happened
take
during
responsible for what
his
happened in your
presidency.
administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in
So
black and white.
would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as
I mean, yes.
I
I think that means
Kamala.
yes,
Please
because
the
she's
fifth.
going to be the one that put the law in place.
I'm gonna follow the law. Kamala?
No, she's the one that put the laws in place.
I know, but like, what do you mean?
I'ma
I'm gonna follow the law.
I'm
Nigga,
gonna
I'm gonna follow the law.
Because she's going to put the law in place.
I just would like to point out that every time she receives critical pushback and he's fighting through the bullshit, she blames Trump. He started off. That's why he started off interrupting her, because she started trying to go to that spiel of that script crap.
Well, she
he
wasn't
going
answer
for
yet.
it.
She wasn't
He
answering.
wasn't going for
Like,
it.
at first, I was thinking, like, yeah, he's not letting her answer, but I was like, well,
bipartisan
she's not
border
answering. So,
bill.
I mean,
Well, I mean, it's the fact that like he fought through the answer and then she just went into the same spiel she's been given. So
And if you think
I'm like
about
the
it-
fact that he fought through it like doesn't really like that's why. Like I see why he did that, because if you're just gonna give me the same script, I'm gonna just keep grilling your ass. Obviously, you're not capable of answering the question with a legit answer. You don't answer yes or no on anything, so we don't know what your policies are. This is why your voters and people are undecided, because they don't know who you are or what you stand for, because you don't give concrete answers, and people want Trump.
I'm gonna
'Cause
follow the law.
Trump would have told you, Trump would have said, no, I'm not doing it. They said, Trump, would you sign an abortion ban? He said, there's no reason for me to answer that because it ain't going to happen.
that's an answer.
And that's an answer.
Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters, because
said
he
it.
actually
Whoa.
has no
Sense
plan
of fear.
You
in
said
this
it.
election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
On
it was
plans
different,
for the
but let's-
American
we'll move
people,
on.
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need.
An
My plans for the
aspiration,
economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated
probably
my
donate
plans
to
for
the
our
campaign.
economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker,
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people say-
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year.
Why
Those
do
are
you-
the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that
question.
when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how
Can't trust
economic
people that
policy
study.
works, that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the
she's
type
done.
of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward.
make me happy.
They want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
I love this.
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under
yeah.
a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I noticed.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So, you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be
Great
very
question.
clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency.
It'll be
And
worse.
like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional
Middle-class
experiences,
family.
and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business
Cheney's.
sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years, so what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other.
Really?
Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know.
Script.
The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an
Vice
American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam
That
Vice
is
President, more than
turning the page.
70% of people
That is
tell
about turning the
pollsters-
page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than
People are
70% of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track,
Why we trusting
that
the
track
same
follows
driver?
3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've
since
been the person
Come
holding
on.
the
This is crazy. How you still blame it on Trump? You're in office. That's what be making me hot.
Time, lost second time, he running the debate.
Like, what the hell?
She's the worst.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm so grateful and thankful for Fox News for giving us this interview.
We gotta thank Kamala. She went on. She
did.
actually did it.
She actually did
See,
it.
she this is why they say watching this is making me realize why they came up with the slogan going from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris is like shitting your pants and changing your shirt because she can't tell you what she's gonna do different. All she can tell you is that I'm a different person. I got new ideas. Yeah, your new ideas so far that you propose ass.
And
Yes,
it's
sir.
more crazy, motherfucker. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's more crazy that you could see everything she have said out her mouth. They're showing it on video. Look what you said. So you can't deny it.
No,
you
I'm
can't.
really enjoying the fact that he's pressing through her bullshit and calling it. Like, it's about time. Like him and the 60 Minutes brother, I forget his name. I don't think I ever really learned it. But those are the two favorite interviews I've seen her have because they finally are pulling that mask back. They're not giving her the softball questions. They're not letting her run through this whole spiel and say the same things over and over. Like, you just had an interview where they gave you softball questions and you bombed, and now you're bombing even worse. You can't like continue this stuff and run on this. Like, her honeymoon phase is over, the joy is over, and people are coping. It's over.
No more vibes.
And Vivek said that would happen.
He did.
He said at the very beginning, when she comes, she'll have a honeymoon phase, and people are gonna like her. She'll look good in the polls.
Just let her talk.
And eventually, that'll run out. And the people who when it comes down to it, all those stats. Not in the right direction. She was in office. Boom. Did she or did she not have power? That's what I would ask if I was asking her a question. I would say,
But you know what's
do you
crazy?
feel like you had a good amount of power as vice president or not?
They should have left
Yes
Joe.
or no. Either way, she says,
They should have left
if
Joe
she
up
says
there.
no, well, then why would we choose president? She says yes, and it's like, well, why is the country where it is now?
They
So
should've-
either way, you're cooked.
I feel like they should have left
All
Joe
she
Biden.
did was do what a regular politician does.
He was
get
doing-
interviewed. So she's getting cooked by getting interviewed, guys. Let's really think about that. These are regular interviews, regular questions. And then
Trump is winning, bro.
Yeah. And then the fact that she tried to act like Trump was wrong for that ad. Oh, he spent $20 million on that. I mean, who knows if that's right or wrong.
But you said those.
You said those things.
Out your
Probably
mouth.
the last, I don't know, decade, maybe 20
She
years.
said,
I don't know.
"I'm radical.
Look though.
I'm
look up.
radical."
So she acted like he was
She
wrong.
told us.
For saying that.
America
and then
need to
she
be woke.
went back all the way 14 years ago talking about the Central Park 5.
Yeah,
Come on, Kamala.
all
He
her-
wasn't a politician at the time.
Facts.
You said that as a politician.
Yeah, I just would like to point out the fact that he called out all her old positions. She didn't condemn any of them. She just said, I'll follow the law. Well,
Yeah, she gonna
as
write.
president, the law Your job under the law is to pass legislation. So if you're just going to follow the law and you don't condemn your old points, that just means you can follow the laws of the president and pass these. That's what I'm saying. You can pass these radical points that you won't condemn. So to me, that is just very concerning.
She got no backbone, no spine, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, what won't you stand for? You know, you say this and that about, how you should
follow
treat
the
people.
law.
But like, what laws on the left, because you're from the left, you know, there's like certain things on the right which I'm be okay, this and that. This is where I stand on that. This is where I stand on abortion. This be to the states, you know, this and that. But on the left, it's like, it's never like, okay, are you gonna dead this stuff that's going too far with the border? I'm gonna follow the law. Okay, well, what about this and that? I'm gonna follow the law. That's how I plead the fifth. You have to follow the law. You're the president. I hope the president
But
follows
the
the
laws she already that is passed right now have millions and 21 million people that's in our country already that's getting
And I didn't
assisted.
know that stat about they released 8 million. So that means 8 million of them were captured and they said,
Go free.
mind.
Go free.
have
Yeah,
fun.
no, that's the catch and release. And that's what I was
Lincoln
trying to say
riots,
yesterday.
yeah.
They got rid of all the remain in Mexico, all the Trump border policies.
And the border went to
And
shit.
then they said
That's
they
pretty simple.
maintain catch and release. So you catch them, release them. What the hell is that? That is ridiculous.
No
not
voter
bad.
ID.
This is not
Then
bad
she's talking about she wouldn't address that there's a border problem. She's just talking about the immigration system's broken. Yes, it is broken, but you broke it worse. You broke it wide open. Like it's insane to me that she just can't give a concrete answer on any point, and she fights through giving a concrete answer to give the same scripts you've done. And now we see why they've been hiding her away. Now we see how that's been how her media blitz has been negatively affecting her campaign, because people are seeing you go on all these shows and say the same thing over and over and over.
She's losing. They're gonna let the immigrants in, give them a credit card, give them a home, and then say no voter ID. Okay,
That's cheating.
And give them amnesty.
And they call like that's what make it more
and
crazy.
defund the police and call you racist if you disagree.
And
take their gun away.
then say Trump is the threat to democracy.
It's truly
and
insane.
then
when they skip the GOP.
and then let's change agenda in jail. Man, come on, man. What is we standing for, man?
Radical.
This is why 80% of people are saying that we're on the wrong track. Like we're
So
literally on the wrong track.
Why we trusting the same driver?
Literally, you the co-pilot right now.
It just
like, damn.
Get that boy.
it just hurts.
And
Like she don't take accountability, bro.
Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the
That was
office.
the craziest answer ever, though. That's why I had to pause it, bro.
And President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
What does that have to do with
And
Trump?
Donald Trump has been running for
What does
office.
that have to do with that?
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous,
What about Joe Biden?
and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him
Madam
instead
Vice
of
President,
the American people.
if
People
that's the
are
case,
tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening? Ooh.
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
It's
if
not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a
So
cakewalk
are they misguided, the
for anyone.
50%?
Listen,
Are they
I'm-
stupid? What
oh
is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American
actually
people.
you
And in
did.
fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within.
It's a meltdown.
Talking about the American people. Suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the
Dang it, man.
today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
Wrap this up, man.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster.
He said Al Capone.
Oh, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that
No,
specific...
that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people.
Why would he
has
support that?
talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy,
yelling.
the President of the United States, in the United States of America,
scared me.
should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call
let's not
Donald
diminish
Trump...
the significance
you
of that.
call Donald Trump... he's misguided. You say now
He's
he
unstable.
is unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this.
And,
you told
we
many
should all be
interviewers
concerned.
that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Great question.
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And
but,
Donald Trump
but you
is,
talked about it.
And Donald Trump
after George Clooney said
and
within a
if
few
you
minutes of
watch
talking to President
Donald
Biden at a
Trump-
fundraiser that he thought this was not the same
Brett,
Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
I ain't hear that one.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration
$6 billion.
and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Wow. Facts.
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion, that Iran posed a threat
She's done.
to Israel.
Talk about the bread.
I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
But those
is,
proxies were getting
and
funded
my
by Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
The estimates
and then
in billions
it was during Donald Trump's
that
administration
go towards
that
the Iran regime.
That we had an American military base that was attacked.
Wow.
Where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches. Not to mention how Donald Trump has
all of this money
has treated and
has
talked about
gone in the
America's
past few
military
years.
and military service people,
Critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers,
Hamas,
has diminished
and Houthis.
the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
Well,
I
would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision
and there are critics
that they feel.
who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things
There's more to say. I have much more
there
to
are
say,
a lot of
actually.
things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why we
I
invited
invite
you
everyone to go to KamalaHarris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
And that's why
intend
we
to do to
invited you
strengthen
here
our economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
support America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Get him stepped on. Look at that.
She's done. I actually enjoyed that so much. They hitting the victory dance. Hold on, hit the Fortnite victory dance. Hit the Fortnite victory dance. Hit the Fortnite victory dance. It's over. It's over.
Hold on. It's not over.
The game is over.
It's not over.
Hey, Tyler. Roll one up. We gonna smoke Kamala Harris. It's over with. We're smoking on that Harris pack tonight. It's over.
Yeah. But look, it's
No,
not
she's
over
done.
with yet. It's not over with yet.
I ain't gonna lie. After this, I believe the polling is about to look
It's
crazy.
not over with yet, because we know how these Democrats get with the mail-in ballot and these.
Oh,
you know I can't. I'm just
damn it, Brock. Damn it.
Hey, I got a clip of the interviewer. I sent it on X that the aftermath of him.
Oh yeah. Nah, man, this is fantastic. Y'all see what Joe Biden said today though? Like how he reversed. Joe Biden said something insane today.
Hey, bro, this made me so happy.
It's over, guys.
Y'all, this made me so warm in the heart to hear somebody actually ask for some real questions.
Honestly, I did enjoy the pushback. I did enjoy what happened. She started yelling. She was upset.
She was upset.
She was flustered.
Man,
She
it
couldn't
was over.
answer the Iran question. That really stung her because she started stuttering. She started pausing.
She didn't answer the when was Joe too old?
She didn't.
When did you realize?
She didn't. She did. She still didn't answer
She
that to this
answered
day.
One thing I really wanted to say really bad that I forgot and then I remembered again. They always say that Trump and Republicans are divisive. Then why is it that if you're voting for Trump and people in public ask you who you're voting for, if you can't make an endorsement, that's pretty much your endorsement. Because it's open, anyone can say Kamala. And then we saw the kids, it was like, oh, the kids whose parents were Democrats were like, oh, would you let your kids go to a Trump supporter's house? They're like, hell no. Then they asked the Trump kids, would you go to a Democrat's house? And they were like, yeah, I'd go over there, yeah.
They knew it wasn't that deep.
But the Republicans are divisive? I'm just saying.
Guys,
I'm just saying.
we know where the writing's at, you know, because every one of my friends, like, that grew up conservative, they've never treated me different. They never treated me bad. Their parents treated me like I was their own son. Like, I've had parents offer to buy me new sports equipment, and my parents ain't po. They was like, hey, you want some new stuff? I'm like, damn, you ain't my daddy.
Hey, man, being in the military, like a culture, bro, that's all I see. There's a lot of Republicans, so it's just crazy that they really try to say these people so racist.
Nah, it's really crazy,
For
bro.
100 years.
It's really crazy, bro.
They got to shake back. They got to get a new playbook. They got to just get better, man. It's bad, man. Let's see what he said right here.
Hey, you niggas just...
Dana, you've been on the other side.
I was going to say, you niggas on the plantation, get off.
Dana, you've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, you know, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands. Like, it's got to stop.
I could tell.
So, Martha, final, I had to dismount there at the end. There's so many things, and she maybe should do more of these. Dana.
Yeah, it's over, guys. No, what Joe Biden said today was crazy, but we ain't got to go find it. I already brought it up.
She beat Trump so badly in the debate, he's scared to death to beat her again.
That was crazy, bro. Hey, but I was crazy.
They made him practice
She
that
beat
like 10
Trump
times.
so badly in the debate, he's scared to death to beat her again.
Beat her
That's a
again.
fact.
He said it
Beat her.
backwards.
He said to beat her again.
Hey,
Him to beat her? Wait, I thought you meant.
Beat Trump
Hello.
so badly in the debate, he's scared to death to beat her again. That's a fact.
Joe said it.
Tough
That's a
guy,
fact.
right?
He said it's
Wow.
a fact. That's what Joe said.
Hey, hold on.
Joe said it was a fake. He's a
Put the
president. Y'all
full
president can't
screen
lie.
up. Put the full screen up. Your face in the
Oh
back
my
is
God.
so small.
Oh, his shit is small.
His face look like this.
His whole guy look like a squished up fish.
Oh man, this is
Swallow
great.
that nigga.
This was great. I cannot
was
wait to
great.
see the fallout and the next.
Magnificent.
It was awesome.
Sensational.
This is just
Yeah, she has to stop. What the hell is this?
It's a new interview.
No way.
BET. Hey,
She went on BET.
BET.
Damn, she trying to get that black vote, boy.
Yeah, she's trying to get that up.
She's trying to get that
See
up.
about that? No, guys. Yeah, it's over, guys. I mean, that was the worst one for sure. I mean, all she needed is a little pushback questions, like any political
ones.
person. Yeah, gets.
You just can't
Simple.
let her speak freely because they don't let Trump speak freely. So I was finally excited to see her get that same treatment. She can't handle it. She crumbles.
That
Trump,
five
Trump,
got hot
Trump
in
gonna
that
stand in
five.
that 5. Trump gonna stand in that 5.
And he
don't
gonna
give a
say
damn.
how he
He
feel.
gonna stand in that 5 and stand 10 toes behind that shit. She can't. She couldn't. She
He
couldn't
did
do
that
it.
yesterday with the economist.
He
did
said,
that
"You
yesterday.
sound stupid."
He said, "I know you never heard this before."
He said, "You're wrong. You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about."
He
I
did
said,
stand on
"Damn."
10.
He stand. Then they gave him a standing ovation. That's how much he wowed them. They said, "Wow, this guy is a real force." And that's what I want from a leader. You don't let people push back on your.
Let
If you
reporter
really
rile
stand
you
on
up.
something, you're gonna stand up about that.
You
He
let a
did it.
reporter rile you up, Kamala. Come on, man. If Putin get to talking crazy, you gonna what you
Yeah.
gonna do? Melt down?
Can't.
All right, man. It's over, guys. They wrapped it up. It's done.
Wrap it
Y'all
up.
see it.
Wrap it up.